What's up, everybody? This is Edward back with another video, and today this is a public service announcement. I'm going to be leading off the Sunday Rumble, which is really good because, you know, I'm looking to get these get to this 1,500 so I can start this group. So anyway, I'm going to be leading off the Sunday Rumble, and the Sunday Rumble title is Why Kamala Harris Can Be Married to a White Man, but Black Men Can't Be Married to White Women. This is going to be very interesting. As you can see with the thumbnail on this post, I have a picture of Kamala Harris juxtaposed against Tyrese Harris's wife, and I think that's a really cool picture because it's interesting. First of all, they both have Jamaican descent. They're both mixed with multiple things, and it's very, very interesting because it gives a really, really good understanding as to kind of the nature of how just emotionally driven a lot of our women can be. Now, when it as far as coming at Tyrese for dating this woman and call her a black queen, yet you'll have some people, some women actually try to promote Kamala as a candidate that black people should be really supporting. Now, to be absolutely fair, and this is not to be fair, this is to tell the truth how it is, black people have a lot to learn when it comes to politics in general, number one. And number two, to keep it 100, I don't even know if black women are really going to get behind Kamala like that. What you're seeing right now is the AKAs, the feminist minions, you know, the people that when Zaddy calls, they come, you know, with no hesitation. It remains to be seen how greater the populace is, the more it's learned. And the thing is, a lot of the new black media is really gotten in front of social media and really hammered her hard by putting out the things that just what her record is and a lot of stuff that's out there. These are questions that's gonna have to be answered and addressed. You're not gonna be able to scapegoat these questions, and then that's what people are really trying to do. They're trying to scapegoat these questions by throwing words out here such as misogyny and just throwing these emotional, inciting, basically yelling fire words in order to try to drown out what other people are saying. So, and what a lot of people don't understand is it seems like her campaign, because I'm a marketing guy, so I pay attention to the marketing aspect of this, and the campaign that she's doing, it's so goofy. It's like a really, 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 really bad. It's like when you have a bad, we have a good movie and it's marketed horribly. Movie I'm thinking about is Edge of Tomorrow, but there's other movies like this where you look and you see, wow, this movie was marketed bad, and it actually cost this movie a lot of money because this movie was a lot better or not the same tone as to how it was marketed. This is Kamala Harris, and it's a combination. And a lot of times is when I looked at Hillary Clinton, I said Hillary Clinton actually did not run a bad campaign. There's things she could have did better, but she actually didn't shoot her own self in the foot as much as she paid for a lot of the sins of a lot of people around her, as well as things that she said before. But her marketing campaign never addressed any of this stuff. They just kind of assumed what she did was inevitable, and they played the card of inevitability is going to win the day, and it didn't. And I see a lot more goofiness going on with the people behind Kamala. And what this is really really giving me the understanding is people really believe that Obama was a new normal, where you can always find an Obama in the Black Caucus or in the Democratic Party or somewhere that black people are going to gravitate to. And it completely gets away from the fact that, number one, once you've had a black president, people are gonna kind of be been here, done that. Because number two, if black people have a much more increased buyer's remorse when it comes to Obama. Not saying that most black people will say they wish they never voted for him. I voted for him twice. But the thing about it is, a lot of the groups that said Obama didn't do enough or could have did more, those groups are not able to be shut down as much as they were before, because number one, Obama's not there, but also because there's certain things you can't really argue. And now seeing having a lot of people asking themselves, even that would defend Obama, was voting for Obama worth having a Trump? A lot of people, see, these are questions that could be muted and are not being muted as much anymore. And now the voices that kind of really are trying to reorient black people are getting louder and louder. Now I'm on no delusions as to how far black people need to go. We are way too hyper emotional. We're way too insecure. We are way too attention starved. That drives a lot of our behavior. I'm talking about in real life. I'm not talking about people that are online and they constantly talk about this stuff. I'm talking, or audiences that listen to this stuff. I'm talking about online. And that's one thing that y'all need to understand. Even if you all are not content creators, you all have to understand, if you're listening to me or you're listening to anyone else, you all need to be ambassadors for this content. You all, I'm not even talking about promoting me. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when you hear an idea or hear me say something that's very insightful and that you, like an angle that you didn't think about it before, you all need to start bringing this up in your barbershops. You all need to bring these conversations up. I'm not talking about necessarily black women versus black men and gender stuff, sports, whatever we're talking about. I'm not talking about just the gender stuff. And even then, I would talk about the matriarchy anyway, rather than talk about what black women don't do. More talk about the dynamics, because that's less controversial. But my point is, you all need to start bringing this stuff to the floor in real life. Because all of you all have a circle. All of you all know people. All of you all have a spirit of influence that you have. And you will find a lot of these people don't have answers to these questions because they never thought about this type of stuff. And that's kind of the next level that we need to start taking. All of you all are ambassadors for this information. And whether you promote individual channels or not, because there's other channels I would say to promote other than mine, because I'll be all right. I would say you all need to at least be having some of these conversations in real life with people you know, and see what they're on and see why they're on what they're on. Because people can disagree with me, but if you don't have a real reason you're disagreeing with me, you just have this kind of knee-jerk, I just don't agree because emotional, especially when you're dealing with a man, when you're dealing with men. Like men, if a man has a disagreement, it needs to be a logical one. Now, sometimes they got personal stuff as to why they don't want to say it. I get that. But the reality is, most of the time, that's not what it is. So, anyway, I'm going to be doing the lead off of Kamala. It's going to be really interesting. I haven't been on the Rumble really like that in a while. So, definitely support me. Definitely come on there. I mean, most of y'all that's on here, a lot of you all found me through O'Shea. So, that's really cool. And, this will be kind of a lead off for me really to kind of talk about politics, because you will see me talk about politics more, talk about news more. And I'm not so much about telling you what to think, but to tell you to think and give you the different angles. And because I have majority black men on here, it's going to be what are black men need to be looking for. Now, granted, nobody's going to be really speaking to what we particularly need. That's just something that's going to need to be understood because we have a long way to go. However, what we can look for is which is the least. And when I say the least of two evils, I'm talking about even before the presidency gets launched. We got to start seeing these people before they come. Now, my personal opinion on Donald Trump is, my thing is, how is it going to be better for black men if Trump's not in office? Now, there's a national cohesion infrastructure angle towards that. And then there's also kind of like another angle towards that there's other layers to it. And that's it. I mean, really, and just to end this video off, because I didn't want to make this video too long. Here's the thing. You're going to see a lot of names being floated out. Most of these people are not serious. You have to understand that running for president is a very, very easy way to generate a lot of press. It's a very easy to generate a lot of attention, and attention can lead towards money. Politicians just don't make money off of the being in office. They make money a variety of different ways, and it gives a lot of opportunities for a lot of people. This is the political class, after all, and a lot of this is going to be clout chasing, and you all need to understand that. A big everybody's being taken, like Kamala Harris. The best that Kamala Harris could hope for is going to be being in a position of being Attorney General or of the United States or something like that. You know, her being a California senator is not going to be forever and a day. Okay? She's not, because that's a very coveted seat with a lot of people. So a lot of people is vying for that. And contrary to popular belief, Democrats run against each other for that seat. Now, they have to get certain permissions to do so, but they do it. It's not a situation where she is completely untouchable in that seat. She's not Barbara Boxer, and she's not, I think her name is Feingold. I forget her name. You know what I'm talking about. She's not her either. She's not untouchable. So, understand that a big reason why she's running for president can actually help her hold that seat in California, because it will allow her to get more attention. It's free attention. So she's literally like running as a way of kind of like keeping herself in the public eye outside of California that will attract money to her. These are things that people don't never consider when they look at why somebody declares they're quote unquote running for president. So also you have to understand that if you look at politics outside of the United States and how parties are done more of a parliamentarian situation where you have multiple parties, some of them really come together to form a government. The United States is a lot more controlled than that. You got to understand that this is like really the main opportunity that politicians have to really jockey for party positioning within their own party. They have opportunity to kind of do battle and kind of leapfrog other politicians based on attention and stuff, and the internet never makes that more of a case. So even like women like Alexia Cortez and stuff like that, because she has access to certain people based on how she got in, you know, she's gonna have the opportunity to be able to not so much be a king or queen maker, but like be able to bring certain audiences with her endorsement. Same thing with Bernie Sanders. I wouldn't run if I was Bernie Sanders. He might run, and even if he does, he's bringing attention to him. But at the same time, Bernie has a certain energy that people mess with. This is the type of stuff that people got to start looking at. And this is the type of stuff I bring to the table. I'm going to bring to the table different angles. I'm going to bring to the table people that know more than me about certain history and depth of things, people like BGS and stuff like that, and I'm going to give you the ability to get absolutely informed, so you see everything and most of the angles that you really need to see. What's important to you, as far as when I say you, I'm talking about the audience, what you should be looking for. So when you look at, you know, Kamala Harris, for a grand scheme of things, is not even the most important person. Like, you got people that haven't announced. You got people like Michael Bloomberg that haven't announced. Terry McAuliffe that haven't announced. Joe Biden hasn't really made a decision whether he wants to run. The problem with Bloomberg is age. Joe Biden age. Bernie Sanders age. If you're 70 or older now, I mean, you're going to be 73. I mean, what the fuck? The presidency is a very taxing position. So what? Is the next person running going to be 4 years? You got, you know, Julio Cortez, which is the Latin dude y'all need to pay attention to. This is like a Latin Obama, which he's going to be, at the very least, a very solid kingmaker because of, like, the Latin population, especially in Texas. You've got a lot of people, you know, that are going to be able to jockey. You got 4 women running. You got Kirsten Gillibrand, a senator from New York, other than Schumer. You've got, you know, Michael Bloomberg is Jewish, so understand that. You know, he's going to have that behind him, on top that he's worth $44 billion, on top that he owns his own media empire. So that's a like killer advantage that he has. And don't think that Michael Bloomberg isn't going to be able to pull money from people like Bezos or something. Like there's so many. Are you serious? And he's a Plutarch. Like, there's so many people that haven't even announced yet. You know, a lot of the people that's announcing right now are not even the most important people, because they know they need to get the attention while they can get it. Another thing, and this is the last thing I'm going to say, that black people need to understand is we have to start understanding the 9 areas of activity. We need to understand the 5 floors of economics and the 9 areas of activity. And every time you ask a question or you formulate what you should ask, you need to have this in mind. So what are the 5 floors? 5 floors come from Dr. Claude Anderson. Definitely look him up. Buy all his books, Powernomics. You need to be donating at least $5 a month to the Harvest Institute. Like, that thing needs to last past his life, and he's done a lot of really great work. Like, if y'all give anybody money, y'all need to be giving him money, because he's actually doing real shit. And the 5 floors it's basically a way for you to understand how a community is organized. So economics, politics, and I could get more depth of the 5 floors later, but economics, politics, judiciary, and media and education at the top. And those are all by priority. So economics, politics, judiciary, media, and education. Those are the 5 floors. So when you're formulating a policy or you're formulating things that you need to have, that's what you need to be doing. Another thing you need to start looking at is the 9 areas of activity. Now, I forget who this guy, I think it's from Amos Wilson. It's either from Amos Wilson. I need to start coming out who that's from. But it's from, it might be Amos Wilson, it may be somebody else. I may be wrong. So correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. But I'll give you links to this, because y'all need to understand, y'all should have this imprint in your head. You all should be able to recite the 9 areas of activity off gate and the 5 floors. So the 9 areas of activity is really 4 more than the floors. So it's like, let's start off from the 5 floors. So you got economics, you've got law, which is judiciary, you've got education, which is education, you've got media, which is media, you've got politics, so that's 5, right? So that's the 5 floors. It's just, and then you've got religion, you've got sex, you've got labor, and it's always one more that I'm missing. But just remember it from the 5 floors, and then there's 4 more you need to add. So it's really 4 you need to remember outside of the 5 floors. So sex, so it's economics, law, politics, media, education, sex, labor, religion, and it's one more. War is the other one. These are the 9 areas of activity. So sex, religion, labor, and war, and then the 5 floors. And I'll have that in the description. And every time you have a course, you should be able, as a so to be educated. Yeah, you can read all the books and all that, but you need to be able to think through the 9 areas of activity. I know this is going a little bit long. I'm gonna take this to probably 25 minutes. You should be able to actually have an intelligent conversation about all of these things. Like, and I don't mean you gotta know everything, but you should be able to think through these things. So when we look at sex, we understand, black people talk about sex all the time. When we're talking about like even this, coming back to this video, coming back to what I said of me being on the Rumble, what are we talking about? Why can Kamala Harris be with a white man, but black men can't be with her? That's sex. Whenever you hear black women or black men talking about, oh, you ain't really black if you mulatto, interracial, these are results of sexual activity. And we also inherently understand how people can use sex as a weapon to kind of like muddle up certain loyalties or reinforce other loyalties. We know how goofy some black people can be because they get some white pussy or because they get some white dick. I mean, think about what Eve did with Chris Brown. Think about how black women responded to Nate Parker. You know, or anybody as well. We know. So sex is something we know. We know that's an area activity. Y'all already know how to think about that, but y'all never understood it in a greater context as far as in these 9 floors. So what about labor? Well, we black men, we already know about how we get isolated out of the corporate market, how we got to compete against other non-American blacks, or how we have to compete against our own women because our women serve as a double minority. And if you're a non-American black, you're serving as a triple minority because you're serving also as an immigrant. Like, so labor, immigration is a labor question, really. You know, there's a lot of things like construction and all of that black people get phased out of because we're getting undercut. White people are too, but we're more vulnerable. So it's a labor question. You look at politics. I was just talking about that. You look, obviously, the 5 floors. You hear me talking about the 5 floors. If you talk about war, when you look at, colonization, when you look at, the tribalism, when you look at a lot of stuff CIA does, which is turning certain people against other people. You look at, technically, I can argue that police is a form of war. This is why when you hear people talk about race war, they're really talking about race prosecution, where black men are being prosecuted. There's a war, even in the media, to basically make people it's pretty much, they call it heterophobia, where you have a phobia against heterosexual black men. So war can permeate a lot of different areas of activity, because war is pretty much an activity on its own. So I said sex, labor, war, religion. We already know how it is with religion. Where black people get so spiritual, they don't know what up is down and down is up. Whether it's the Hotep shit or the Christian shit or Hebrew Israelite shit or I don't believe in religion at all shit. Black people, like, whether black feminism is a religion. Matriarchy is a religion, in my opinion. So, because if anything that kind of you believe in it so much that you lose logic to it and you start lowering your IQ to match that, I lump in as religion. And then obviously we know about the media. AM1 talks about that all the time. We talk about that all the time. We obviously understand education, and more black people should be more really worried about miseducation than they are education, because a lot of what we've been taught is miseducating us, because we're not taught what's important. We're talking about things that are irrelevant. Our women are miseducated as to femininity. Fuck black men for a second. Even if black women were to say, I don't want to date an African American man or a black man, can black women honestly say that they're comfortable competing? They're comfortable competing against other races of women when it comes to getting other races of men? Now, granted, what they'll say, hell, black women are not even comfortable competing against other races of women to get their own men. Now, they'll say it's colorism, which is the universal deflection, because that's not true. That's not as true as what they want to say it. Really, it's them not having a real understanding of femininity, and they want to call that colorism. This is why they want to call that colorism, basically. So my point to saying that is they can't even get the outcomes they want, and they want to just blame it to name your ism. Or black men are miseducated on power. We think fucking is power. So as Jason Black said, black men fall in love with masculine gestures, but not having a masculine foundation. It's like having a house built on sand. And our women have developed a culture of calling us on that. And quite frankly, because we don't really have the power to subdue them, or we don't even look to develop the power to have our game so tight, where the only thing you can do is comply. You see? So black men have been miseducated on this. And you got black men, they really never grow out of black boyhood. And there's a lot of people I can blame for that. Our women are complicit in that. White people are complicit in that. But at the end of the day, it's up to you to recognize the flaw and correct it. As an individual, that is on you. And as a group, it's on black men to basically illuminate this flaw and basically make people correct itself. So my point is, with these 9 areas, and you're going to see me speak to these 9 areas and speak to these 5 floors a hell of a lot more, because what I said is, I want you all to be able to think, not tell you what to think. And I need to give you all the tools, the mental tools, or the mental technologies, because technology can be mental as well. Technology is not just a physical thing like a smartphone. I'm going to give you the technology to be able to say, okay, what is in my best interest? And be honest about that. And that's another thing. We're not honest about what we want. Our women are not honest about the fact they really want us to be sex and labor, and they don't want us to lead. They're not honest about that, because if they're honest about that, a lot of them, they know black men would just check the fuck out and say, okay, I'm not fucking with you. They know that. So they lie. They lie and they manipulate. They try to have these conversations that never seem genuine. They always turn into arguments, because most dudes are talking from a logical perspective and they're just trying to get over. So anyway. So yeah. These are the things that so you're going to start seeing me talk about this a lot more. This won't be a political channel, but it will. But as But I want y'all to understand this before these people announce. I'm going to be telling people, talking about people, where they come from, what it is, what you need to pay attention to. And I expect and I demand a very intelligent comment section. You know, if you don't know, don't know. If you want to ask, ask. I don't want to, yeah, you can. If you're Republican, fine. If you're Democrat, fine. I'm a Democrat. But what I don't want is I don't want to talk things from a Democrat or Republican angle. I want to talk about it from a black male first angle. Because black men are more conservative than they are liberal anyway. The race issue is the main issue with the Republican Party. And we're not gonna ignore that, you know, for the other thing. Now, granted, the Democratic Party is just as racist, and we need to start recognizing that. So we need to start thinking of, and another angle you're going to see me talk about a lot too is aggregating money. The dynamic between you being a political or a voter base and you being a donor base. The problem is black people cannot be dependent on for money. So as a result, aggregating money for what we believe in. So as a result, you know, they just want to get us for the votes. And they don't want to do nothing for us because we can't call those receipts. It's not important to get people elected. It is important to get people elected, but it's more important for them to understand what needs to be done to get elected. Because understand, if we're not voting for you, we could be voting against you. And the Democrats are never going to be able to get enough white people. The liberals will never be able to get enough white people for them to have their liberal policies. They just won't. If black people do not vote for them, and let's be clear, Hispanics are not on that gay shit either like that. If black people do not vote for them, then a lot of things will get rolled back. And black people need to start really thinking about, should I really start going with the Republicans to start rolling back gay marriage, to start rolling back abortions, I'm talking about black men, to start rolling some of this back just to let them know this stuff is not unchangeable. And that's the thing we got to start thinking about. That stuff is not just one election. We got to start also thinking, so we got to start thinking about a voter base versus a donor base. Aggregating our money. How can we aggregate our money the best way possible to create maximum impact? Right now, it might be getting attention to certain aspects. So we may not have a candidate yet. And I don't mean running for president. I mean a candidate, because really black people, the best that black people need to be focused on is, mainly black men, is we need to be able to aggregate money to put somebody there to speak to our interests, regardless if they get elected. Saying, I represent the majority of black men, and if you want black men's vote, this is what you're going to need to say. If you don't, these motherfuckers will vote for the Green Party just to vacuum their vote out of the Democratic Party, which is going to result in Democrats losing. We need somebody in there putting reparations on the table so these politicians got to say yay or nay. So we know where they stand. Not this dancing like dodging bullshit. I don't give a damn how you feel about reparations, because a lot of y'all niggas are scared to even put that on the table. So y'all make up all these excuses to not talk about it. My point is not even about getting reparations. It's about forcing them to talk in a way that addresses black people. We know when they mean immigration, they mean Hispanic. Everybody knows that. So we need to start getting them to talk in a way that forces them to address our shit. People of color is not black. Diversity is not black. Black, black, black. If you don't want to say that, then I know you don't fuck with us. Period. We are a block. You're not going to play that game. And that's what we got to, that's the best. But but we're not there yet. And we're not probably going to get there in this cycle. Well, we're going to have to, because black men really need to start bringing up things like, you know, automatic paternity tests. That should be in a federal law that like if women can get access, look, I'm gonna keep it real with you. I'll let women get access to the pill or the morning after pill, but we're gonna get access to paternity tests. You know, the rights of the accused. You know, we're gonna start having the rights of the accused. We're gonna start putting it in law that if you falsely accuse somebody, everybody can be sued. Meaning women are gonna have to prove it. Fuck what they talking about as far as protection. They're going to have to prove it. Fuck all that. These are things that, and when they talk about, oh, well, you don't care, we going to have to blow past that. These are the things you have to start talking about. But going back to it, you're going to start to have to understand to be a voter base versus a donor base versus a voter base. Black people don't think about aggregating their money. They just think about voting. And we don't even vote in the numbers that we could vote. Because we don't have an agenda. We don't know what we're voting for. We're voting for people. No, we should have a policy. Whoever lines the close with that policy gets the votes. And we need to be strategy about that. That stuff we got to start talking about with politics ain't even on the table. Another thing, and this is I keep saying it's the last thing. This is the last thing. We have to understand the difference between voting federal, state, and local. Stop voting for fucking attention and stop paying attention for attention, giving your fucking opinion that's not educated, and actually learn what's going on, what has happened the past 10 years, 20 years. Pay attention to how these politicians have ran their careers. And start focusing on voting local as well as state. Then federal. Kamala Harris, before she was federal as a U.S. senator, she was state as far as attorney general. She was that for a little bit. And before that, she was in Oakland, I believe. We need to start understanding these histories because these people keep trying to reinvent themselves. Kamala, most colleges are not going to be as fucking goofy as Kamala. Whoever's behind her needs to be fired because they're goofy as hell. You notice Black Lives Matter ain't as loud as they used to be. Because quite frankly, Black Lives Matter. Motherfuckers are not paying attention to Black Lives Matter no more. That's actually a victory. And they're going to try to dust that shit out. Remember, Black Lives Matter kind of faded out when you started seeing Me Too come out. Like, this stuff is all connected to a certain extent. And people need to pay attention to this. And it's on you all to be leaders and actually asking the right questions. I'm not saying to get into arguments with people you know. That's not what I'm saying. At all. At all. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is you all have to start asking the right questions. Asking the right questions based on what we say here. And based on that, seeing what people think. Because if motherfuckers are on the dumb shit too much, you might have to start reevaluating who you fuck with. And that's why it's always important for you to be networking with new people. But my thing is, you all need to be putting this out here. And that's another thing we need to do a better job at as content creators. And I don't officially consider myself a content creator, but we need to start doing better jobs and giving you all the tools to kind of put this out here without being very, very controversial. Because we know how emotional our people are. We know how emotional the overall situation is, right? So I don't want you all to feel pain by putting this shit out here. I want you all to be in the best position to where you all can actually have these conversations in such a way that it gets people thinking the way they need to be thinking, asking the right questions without them going back at you. Questions, for instance, name me one thing that black men as a group can do that women don't want to do that we can compel them to do. Is the black community a patriarchy or a matriarchy? Okay, if they say it's a patriarchy, again, that goes back to my first question. And if they admit that it's a matriarchy, then, well, if it's a matriarchy, and it doesn't matter why, it doesn't matter if it's a matriarchy because black men didn't do what they're supposed to do. The question is, if it's a matriarchy, then you cannot therefore say that you all are under a patriarchy, meaning you are under rule of black men. You're under rule of white men. So why is it that every time we have this conversation about toxic masculinity, it's like it's black men, as if black men have the ability to be toxic masculine as much as white men? Toxic masculinity is not, a man didn't do what the fuck you wanted him to do. These are the type of things we gotta start having women think, to realize they already know what they're saying is bullshit. But what they think is they think you don't know what they're saying is bullshit. Another thing, this is where I had my little rant before. I said, look, at the end of the day, anything that black women say, my answer is, you right, what the fuck you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do about it that you're not already doing? What are black women already abort like a motherfucker? So what are you gonna do? You have kids because you want to have kids with the men you want to have kids with. You all are already self-sabotaging the community. So what is it that you're gonna do that hasn't already been done? Black men are in a position where black men have nothing really to lose. So I don't understand what you think you can do that you already have not done. What, you're not gonna fuck black men? Okay, black men will fuck with women of other races, other cultures. Oh, well, you don't care about being black. Well, my thing is, you keep thinking you're gonna hold something hostage. My thing is, I can always get a black woman of another culture if I want to have a black kid, which I will have a black kid. So even if I were to say, okay, I'm not fucking non-black women, like, that doesn't mean that you're the only option. And our women have this belief, they still believe it, a lot of them, most of them, that we're their only option. I'm like, no, that's how it is for you, because you all want to act the way y'all want to act. And, you know, I bring these conversations up in real life. And it's funny because people will get emotional about the colorism piece because they've never asked themselves, they've been in these echo chambers. And I've asked people, I said, can you honestly tell me that you don't got no black men that be trying to holler at you? No black men that you actually like? No men. None. At all. And they never say that unless they're fat or unless it's something else you can obviously point to that's wrong, like they're obese or something like that. They never say, oh, well, ain't nobody filled in applications. So I'm like, you can't therefore say black men are colors, because if black men were colors, you wouldn't be getting hardly any applications. See, you're talking about what the society is that, by the way, black men don't control, compared to you're blaming black men for what black men really don't control. We don't control the media. We don't control anything that makes you feel bad about yourself. That's something you need to take to these white boys. But y'all never do that. Y'all pretty much take it out on us because you know that you don't have the power to really affect that. This is the type of stuff that y'all need to start being ambassadors for. Yeah, this needs to stop being a guilty pleasure and start to be a part of the mainstream. Because if nothing changes, nothing changes. And again, it's not that important. But I will say this. It's not like the most important thing. But I will say y'all need to start at least looking for people that are like-minded so you all can aggregate with those people. Black men need to start networking with black men. One of the things that I want to do, that I'm going to do either in 2020 and I'm going to rev it up in 2019, is I want to rev up a campaign to get at least a billboard or a flyer on 10,000 barbershops. I want a network of YouTubers that I know is good at disseminating this information, that we can get it on the ground. It's time to start taking this to the cities where black people are. It's taking this from being online to offline. It's time to start doing meetups, like from meetup.com or the Meetup app. And people like put their houses on board or put, you know, apartments on board or stuff like that, where we can start having meetups and we can start having these conversations on the ground as well as online. It's time to stop. It's time to start getting more people involved. This is entertaining, but it ain't, but it's for real. It doesn't take a lot to aggregate. It really doesn't. It really doesn't. So anyway, I've talked long enough. Y'all know me. But anyway, definitely be looking for that. I'll put up a post on my YouTube when it's coming up. It'll be coming up in about 3 hours or so. And it's going to be interesting. I'm going, you know me. I'm going to bring the house down. I'm still relatively kind of unknown. So people always ask, who is this? And blah, blah, blah. It's actually kind of funny. But anyway, this is Edward signing off. Peace.